Corey's Boston Sports Headlines coming to you next. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Top news in sports this morning. Red Sox report actively shopping Kevin Youkilis. Kevin Falk, frustrated with silence from the Patriots, but remains a team player. Kevin Falk is technically not a member of the New England Patriots. Robert Kraft, the owner of your New England Patriots, wins the George Halas Award. And last in the headlines, Roger Clemens found not guilty in all accounts on trial. Two things we will mainly talk about this morning. My top 10 reasons why the Red Sox have no chance to win AL East this year. And open discussion of this morning. Who is the key for the Patriots defense? Corey's Boston and Local Sports Live coming to you next. Let's start off this morning with the Red Sox. This past weekend, they went 2 out of 3 in Chicago against the worst team in Major League Baseball. They improved their record to a remarkably mediocre 33-33. They have 40% this season at .500, unable to establish any sort of success from any good baseball teams and from any time. Now, Rosenthal wrote on Monday that the Sox can still win the American League East in division, which they sit in last place, 7.5 behind the Yankees, 6.5 behind the Orioles, and 4 behind the Rays, which that will change. The Rays will hop in front of the Orioles, and it will be Yankees, Rays, and Orioles, just saying. The Yankees are on pace to win 100. The O's are on pace to win 96. And the Rays are on pace to 91. The Red Sox are to win 81. But according to Rosenthal, their revival can be kick-started. Really. 4 simple steps, he says. Daniel Bott in the bullpen. Dump Kevin Youkilis. Trade for a starting pitcher. And quote-unquote whammies of all whammies. Close quote. Open another quote. Be patient. Really. Be patient. That's all they have to do, and you guys will start randomly winning games. His optimism is something we don't see often here in Boston. It could dangerously misguide fans into believing that this team could have a good chance of playing baseball in October. To try and combat that, let's counter those 4 steps into 10 quick reasons. Number 1 is their record. 2 is their starting rotation. 3 is dumping. Does not help anybody. Number 4, Daniel Bard. 5, Kyle Crawford. 6, the lineup. 7, Bobby Valentine. 8, the competition. 9, no home field advantage for them this year. And 10, the history. Going back to 1. Alright. Number 1 was their record. Simply numbers here, ladies and gentlemen. At 33-33, the Sox have to go 57-39 the rest of the way, just to win 90 games. That's a .594 winning percentage for a team that's spent exactly 8 days over 500 since the season began, April 5th. Their best record was 28-25, which represented a .528 winning percentage. And that only lasted for a day before the Sox lost 3 in a row and 7 of the next 8. And as I mentioned earlier, 90 victories might be enough for 4th place in the stacked AL East. Earlier this year, the AL East this year, realistically, it'll take between 93 and 96 wins to secure a wild card spot. But are the Red Sox really capable of going 62-34? They're 33-33 right now. 33-33. Remember that. They need to go on an almost 30-game winning streak and only lose 1 game. They're a 500 team right now. They have to go from 500 to 646 the rest of the way. All the patience in the world won't win any ball games. I'm sorry. Going off to number 2, their starting rotation. Last season, the Sox, their offense was prolific and their pitching staff was downright abhorrent. Okay, this is why they collapsed in September and didn't make the playoff this year. Is more the same with the Sox, ranking 25th team ERA and 19th in both quality stats and batting average. All too much of that has to do with the starting rotation. No starter has an ERA below 4.0. And the top quartet of Josh Beckett, John Lester, Felix Doubront, and Clay Buchholz has a combined 4.57. Any hope of Daisuke returning from his surgery? No? Yes? Those thoughts just left Boston's heads. In the middle of this, Beckett's on the DL. Again, with shoulder inflammation. Clay Buchholz, half-wit to a retard, is asking for an extra day of rest when the team needs him. Granted, Franklin Morales steps in nicely, and the Sox have a day off for their bullpen. A day of rest, I should say, for their bullpen. But sitting out a nationally televised game for an extra day of rest isn't really the type of attitude that can lead this team out of last place. Now, third is going to be dumping. Dumping is just... I mean, the idea of dumping Uke is a stupid thought, considering he'd still be an asset for any other team, well, contending team, I should say, in need of a consistent bat who can play the corner infield spot or serve as a designated hitter. In the perfect world, the Sox could get plenty in return for a player like Uke. I mean, from a team looking for a short-term rental, the problem is the rest of the league knows the Red Sox are not in a position of strength. They're not in a position of strength at all. And it'll be nearly impossible, I shouldn't say nearly, it is impossible for the Sox to get any value, at least this season, I should say, in exchange for Euclid. I mean, while he says dumping Uke is one of the 4 reasons the Red Sox can win the East, is a statement that is completely biased and makes no sense. Yeah, it'll put Will Middlebrooks in the lineup every day and get Adrian Gonzalez out of right field and back where he belongs, Bobby V, at first base. But since when is getting rid of a contributing player make a baseball team better? I'm very curious about that. Bard will only... Daniel Bard, okay. Daniel Bard back to the bullpen? Sure, why not? Okay. It's not that he was the worst starter in the world, it was just that he was a mess and he looked a shell of himself. So throw him back in the bullpen, see if he can rediscover his 99-mile-per-hour fastball and become the guy who didn't allow a run from May 27th to the 31st of July last season. That's insane. There's a problem with that. I mean, there's no problem with putting him in the bullpen. But the bullpen hasn't exactly been the area of weakness for the Sox. Since the beginning of May, it's been probably the best bullpen in baseball. So while adding potentially rejuvenated Bard can't really hurt them, it also can't help. Even with a great bullpen, the Red Sox are still 33-33. Maybe Bard in the pen, maybe they'd be what? 35-32. Take your guesses, that's what it is. Number 5 is Kyle Crawford. Alright, listen, when they signed Kyle Crawford, he was consistent. One of the most consistent in baseball. 300 hitter. He was hell on the base paths. And he was sometimes spectacular in the outfield. Then he came to Boston. Needless to say, that's all I need to say is he came to Boston. You guys know he was trash. And that's being nice. And that's an understatement. Now that he's on his road to recovery, you guys say, oh, yeah, well, Crawford will be coming back soon. You hear people saying, oh, well, Crawford will come back. Yeah, you hear that. Is that a positive statement? Wouldn't people rather be going, oh, yeah, good, Crawford's out? We don't need a 255 batting average. Go from 300 to 255. Why not? He's currently being taught right now. Kyle Crawford. He's being taught how to throw a baseball. Talking about before, he was a 300 hitter to a 255. Now, this kid, who's a spectacular on the outfield, yeah, he's so spectacular in the outfield. Why is he being taught how to throw a baseball? I don't expect anything great out of him when he returns, probably in July. All right, number 6, blazing through this list, is the lineup. Daniel Nava is an admirable baseball player. All right, he works harder than anyone else, and he should honestly be a model for any young baseball player that wants to make it to the majors. Still, when he's seconds in OPS on your baseball team among regulars, of course, you got some serious flaws in your lineup. And when 36-year-old Scott Podensnik, who was not a Major League Baseball player last year, to add in, is batting your leadoff 11 times, and when Darnell McDonald, a .213 average, and Nick Punto at 217 are being put in the lineup regularly, you have some problems. First, you got Carl Crawford going from 300 to 255. Now you're putting in a 213 to 217 regularly in your lineup. Are you crazy? This leads to the next one, number 7. But let me finish with this. Marlon Byrd, okay? They acquired him only later to DFA him and kept the other guys. You have a weak lineup. There's no way around that. I mean, it's not anyone's fault. Injuries happen, but it also derails seasons. I'll tell you that right now. Number 7 is Bobby V. All right, listen. He called for a squeeze play Sunday night. Probably, oh, yay. And it worked out amazing. Woo! But the Red Sox still have a lot of issues. Valentine may be one of them. All right. Even if you don't believe he's a problem, is there any reason to believe he's a solution? Wouldn't he have saluted it already? His Mets teams weren't exactly known as models of stability, and he's 10 years older now from then. At times, you almost have to feel bad for him. He looks as he's been he looks like he's been put in a position for failure. But then you think about this. He dresses up in a baseball uniform, and he makes a boatload of cash to do so. My feelings completely go away. I don't feel bad for him. And this is the guy that's parading the streets of Chicago, rapping with homeless people. And the guy who makes excuses every night to lead his team to a miracle finish. That leads me to the competition. If the Red Sox go on a miraculous run to an 80, 95 games, do they expect the Yankees and Rays to just collapse this summer? No. I don't. The only thing that's going to happen is that the Orioles are going to hop off from second place. And definitely the Rays are going to hop into second place. It'll be Yankees, Rays, Orioles, and then Red Sox, of course, in last place. But the Yankees can't win 9 out of 10 games. But they're doing it at the moment. I mean, likewise, Tampa has allowed only 266 runs this year, second fewest in the AL East. And what the Celtics and what the Red Sox don't have, which is steady pitching, that leads to a steady team. So, I don't know. But is there a glimmer of hope that the Orioles could fall apart despite their 39-27 record? They a plus 15 run differential, which is the worst in the division by a healthy amount, just saying. The O's may not be, the team built to last like the Yankees and the Rays, but at the same time they're 6-3 against the Sox. Battling against the O's won't be easy for the Sox. Ninth reason is no home field advantage, alright? Listen, the Sox, the last time they made the playoffs was in 2009. They went 56-25 at Fenway Park. By the time they made the playoffs before that, 2008, they had the same home record. In 2007, they won the World Series and won the division and went 51-30 at Fenway Park. In the World Series winning season in 2004, they went 55-26 at home. This is mediocrity right here. This season, they are 14-19 at Fenway Park, and this is embarrassing to say. This is embarrassing to say that I'm from Boston. That they're the only team in the AL East with a losing record at home. They're on the pace to go 34-47 at home. They do have to improve upon that. But it would take half a dozen Mother Day miracles and then some to make that record respectable. And who's going to respect that record? And if you don't get home field advantage, what the hell do you have? Last one, number 10, is the history of the Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox, they're an amazing team for this past decade, okay? You can't lie. They have been. They've won 2 World Series since 2004. Remember this, and they made the playoffs 6 out of 7 times, 2003 to 2009. They were unquestionably one of the best teams in all of baseball during that time. But they only won one division once. In fact, since 91, they've only won division twice. Think about that. We're in 2012, and the Red Sox since 91 have won the division twice. They'll one day win the division again, yes. Yes, they will. but it will likely be during a season in which they are one of the better teams in baseball by mid-June. Not the worst. It will definitely not be this year. Definitely not be this year. Right now, we're going to skip to football. Leave your comments and remarks about that top 10 list. We're going to go to football. About the Patriots. All right, last year, the Patriots, they had some problems in the safety position. Their secondary. But now they have a front line on defense. All right, this is going to be a short little discussion topic. How will the Patriots use their depth, and how good is it? The secondary I can't really talk about. Their up front line is incredible. Will Fork, that's all I got to say. Plus a couple others. We did good in the draft for our defense. And, I mean, our linebackers, Gerard Mayo, Dante Hightower, Brandon Spikes. Who wants to run by that? Who? Who wants to run through that? Nobody. Alright, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Leave your comments, remarks on your top 10 list. Leave your comments about the Patriots defense. What do you think? Let me know. That's about it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Corey's Boston Sports Live.